Right, and I've just had the best 10-minute chat before we came on and recorded with Harry and Grog, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Nailed it in one. My work here is done.
Cringe made up name.
Gents, thank you so much for taking time out on a Saturday night to sit with me and talk.
No, thank you. Absolutely.
Talk to us.
Like, to be honest, the first serious question, let's get straight into it. Can you think of a better way to spend your Saturday evening than chatting to me?
No.
Right answer. Well done. We're on the
5 points. I get to win.
Okay, so we're talking about Death Goals and your album, A Garden of Dead Flowers, which is out on the 5th of May on Prosthetic Records. It's quite a way away, but
it's closer than we all think.
I suppose it's the end of April. So Will Collins sent this on to me and said, Joey, listen to this album. Do you want to chat to the lads? And to be honest, I haven't heard Death Goals before. And I put it on first and I was like, the first track, I was like, But then as I listened to the album, I was like, Will, you little sod. This has got so much going on it. It's such a diverse, great album. I hear Deftones influences. I hear, even to an extent, White Stripes-esque in some of the songs.
Yeah, I'll always say White Stripes.
The chaos of Dillinger at times.
And
obviously there's the hardcore sort of flowing through it.
Of course.
So you must be dying to get this album out now. Has it been a long time in the works?
It's fucking eons.
Yeah.
It's been ages. So we both come from a world where it's like record in a week, release it the next month sort of thing. So this longer process through, obviously this being the first record through Prosthetic, has been a bit of there's loads of admin stuff to do, and there's loads of logistics we have to work out, which is really nice. It's nice to have that infrastructure, but it has been a lot of we had this recorded or July.
No, we recorded this last May.
Fuck me. So it was last May. last May we had it recorded. So we've been sat on this since then, which is nuts, and it's a lot of time to sort of, obviously we're very finicky. We like to go over stuff and analyze it. Oh no, that snare doesn't sound quite right, that doesn't sound quite right. But to have sat on it for this long and still go, actually I still really like it, is a good sign. Because I'm the first to go, actually that verse is awful. We could have done it loads better, but I think it's quite a good album in hindsight.
I mean, it must be sort of like you were saying there, to be signed to a label like Prosthetic, who are releasing some brilliant stuff recently. For example, one album that would be sort of in your sphere in terms of how I hear it would be the last Thought Crime album that was released, Digital Drip, which is fucking wicked, by the way.
That album is fucking ridiculous.
It was in my top 20 last year. It's so good.
They're amazing.
But to have the weight of Prosthetic behind you now, it must be sort of great that you've got the weight of a label like that, but like you were saying, Harry, then you've got the extra admin and things like that. So George, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially going from, our first record being self-released and kind of just, I wouldn't say it was a quick turnaround with that, but it was very much a case of we kind of had the ability to go, right, we're going to just put a single out now because we feel like it. Whereas this time round, I think it's kind of taught us a little bit about how if you wait and give you're a little bit patient about things, it actually it makes so much more sense in the long run. And it's given us so much more time to, I don't know, get things like the music videos together and actually flesh out the ideas of the music videos and go, okay, well, not only what is the basis of it, but also who do we want to work with? and who seems right to work with, both from a perspective of has something that like we can relate to with the band, or something that I guess just makes sense in the bigger picture of things.
It seems to me like you're saying there, and digging amongst all that, you think this album is a big step up from your previous. Is that right?
Massively, yeah. And that's not to say, of course, that we don't love the first record, because we do, but I think this album is really like it really shows who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, we wrote it together for the first time rather than doing it during lockdown, sending stuff to each other. We had a lot more time to kind of pick apart the aspects that we did like to make what could have been like 1 minute songs into like a 3.5 minute song, and go, okay, actually, if we add this in, this really reflects the things that we like as, music enjoyers as well as musicians.
Yeah, I mean, the length of songs obviously is, I think your first album was about, well, it's certainly less than half an hour, 25 minutes maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
And you've sort of gone from that album to this album, you've sort of gone Opethy and gone written longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not by style, Harry, I mean length.
Yeah. The songs have gotten longer, not through any, I think, deliberate thought of, we need to make the songs longer or whatever. I think it just happens that there were less grind riffs and more like, well, we can write like a big chorus here, or like there's more like just sludgy riffs, or like, once again, it's exploration. Like, we explored lots of sounds on the first album, and that's the sort of thing we really like doing, is exploring and keeping the sounds very varied. It just makes it interesting for us, as well as obviously we like to think the listener. Like, we don't want to, like, we enjoy bands who just can do like fucking beatdown riffs for 20 songs, but also I get really bored of that. I would get bored of playing that. Like, Grog, and anyone who's seen us knows better, I'm really bad at consistently playing the songs because I just get bored. So I always add stuff, and like, I promise you, from the first show we play on the tour we're doing, the songs will sound different by the end of it, because I will have gone like, well, that breakdown sounds better when I add that inflection or that noise into it. Like,
but that's the beauty of this, and we'll come back to what sort of genre you want to be put into. But that's the beauty of like this style you're playing, that you can do stuff like that, and it's not like, let's just take for an extreme example, Dream Theater, where each note and section is written specifically and 20-minute songs, but you have the luxury where you can throw in some stuff, and it's not gonna, the listener's not gonna be like, oh, that's off by miles. It'll probably enhance the experience.
Well, yeah, and also like the scene of like the hardcore scene, post-hardcore scene, whatever you want to call it, screamo scene, has always been very experimental, always quite willing to accept like bands who have strange like setups or strange wants, or like, we're gonna throw in a jazz section, or we're gonna throw in like blast beats over like saxophones. Or, like, if you look at like the Callous Boy album that just came out, it's obviously amazing. That's genre melding at its finest. Like this is such a rich scene for nonsense combinations of sounds currently, which is great. It means like we can kind of do whatever, and there's always gonna be someone doing a more extreme version of it that kind of not that wild in like comparison to other bands doing lots of different genres and things. I think we're quite consistent. It varies in tone, but at the end of the day, each song sounds like a Death Goals song. It's not like, there's a like acoustic folk song halfway through or whatever. Like, although next album there could be.
I was going to say,
Folk mode. Simon Grog and Garfunkel.
So, I mean, I don't like to pigeonhole bands, but I mean, there's, some bands sit very comfortably in the thrash sphere, like Slayer, Metallica. Black metal is very obvious who sits in that genre. But like for yourselves, what do you sort of consider yourselves to be in? Which sort of sphere?
I mean, hardcore is a nice term, a nice large term. Just in general. Currently, we are championing, and we've sort of decided to pigeonhole if we are going to label it as queercore, just because that is such a integral part of the identity of us as a band and us as people. That and lyrically, it's so much of what we speak about. That instead of sort of flitting around it and being like, "Oh, we're a chaotic hardcore band who happen to just be queer," we're like, "Well, we might as well just call ourselves a queercore band." Also, it sounds cool.
And it just then lets us, like, I don't know, going forward, or even as Harry was saying, you know, the way that we kind of improvise bits within our live sets, it means that, you know, if we put something out and it has like pop elements to it, we're not going to then get people on forums going, "Oh, well, this isn't hardcore. This band is not hardcore. They say they're hardcore." It's like, well, okay, we'll just umbrella it and let ourselves continue to do and be as experimental as we are.
The term you've coined, Harry, which you just said there, right? I'm a straight man and very much
love that for you.
Sorry,
love that for you.
Sorry, but I'm very much an ally for the LGBTQ scene, right?
Yeah.
Your terminology, or the way you termed that phrase, can I say that?
Yeah.
Is that because
it's
like? Go on.
So I see it that it differs from different people to everything. There are elements of the queer community. I personally identify as queer. I like that term. I think it's a nice umbrella term. It works well for me. Instead of having 8 different options for what I am, I have one nice, neat one that ties it all up. I think that works well for me. There are some people who do not like the term queer. There are a lot of people in that community who are using what I don't like using the F slur, and reclaiming that. It's all a reclaiming sort of thing. And some people are perfectly fine using that word. I'm not, but I think queer is fine. You're not like going, "Oh, you fucking queer" or whatever. Like if you're using it obviously in a malicious way, then it becomes malicious. But if you're like, "Oh, you're a queercore band," I'm not gonna go, "What the fuck did you say?" Like, I'm a queer person. We play queercore. Like,
okay. And it was just when Will sent out the press release for this. Actually, do you know what it was? It was for the single Pansy, which I don't know if you pronounce Pansy.
Pansy.
Right, okay, Pansy, so it is that.
Yeah.
But when he sent it out, I was like, wow. And he used the term queercore. And I got thinking, because the world is evolving so much, you know, I find myself, like I said, I'm an ally, no problem there. But I find myself sometimes thinking, can I say that? But I just wanted to make sure I could say it because
no, of course, I appreciate you asking. I agree. It's hard to keep up. It really is.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you ask those questions and you're obviously not using it in a malicious way, I think there's nothing wrong with asking people, especially people in a community where like, is this cool? Because it differs from person to person. I have friends who'd be like, I wouldn't want to be called queer in that way because I have family who use it in a derogatory way to me, or I have X, Y, and Z experience with that term. So I think just ask. In all cases, consent is sexy, consent is key. In all things, just ask what people prefer, whether that be pronouns, whether that be terms, whatever. Then you play it safe. Then no one is offended. And if they are, we have a conversation about it. There's no point jumping down people's throats. We have a conversation in these realms. We discuss. That's how we all end up friends.
Perfect. No, like I said, look, I wanted to play it safe, I suppose, and not step on any toes. But so cool. So listen, in terms of and I don't want this to sound like a cliche question that's always asked in interviews, but I think this is very important to ask this. In terms of influences for you guys, what I'd like to know is from each of you, like some of your favorite bands, like of all time. And was there any bands that you were specifically listening to at the time of recording this album that gave you some ideas to put on the record?
They will pull up the playlist. We have we make a playlist for each like album in the writing process, and the album to vibe check playlist has 10 hours worth of music on it.
Could you do me a favor after? Can you share that with me?
Yeah, I'll send it.
I'd love to listen to that. Yeah,
it's eclectic to say the least, but then there's a lot of stuff that like you listen through to it and it makes sense. A lot of it was just like, oh, it got to a point where we were just adding something like, oh, this riff's hard. Like that's just a fun song. Grog, name some bands.
I mean, it wouldn't be me answering this question without mentioning the best band of all time, Radiohead. I think and I guess almost to give that a bit more context, I think for me, Harry writes 95% of the instrumentals for Death Goals. And I write a large chunk of the lyrics. And so I think from that lyric writing perspective, I just find Radiohead's lyrics to be absolutely incredible. So they have a real big part to play within that. I guess from more of a musical side of things, it's actually difficult to say, I suppose, because like I think within certain aspects and certain songs, like I could say bands like Touche Amore or Deaf Heaven or even obviously Deftones and things like that. But I think within writing this, like aside from the playlist that we have, it really was like listening to things that didn't sound almost anything quite like what we were doing on the record. Because I think if you, again, to reference something Harry said earlier on about like these beat down bands, and you can tell when you listen to a band's EP or record that they've listened to Knock Loose through the entirety of the writing and the entirety of the recording process. And obviously, fair play to them. If they pull it off, they pull it off. If they don't pull it off, they don't pull it off. But I think that you can just really easily find yourself listening to something the night before, then going into a studio session and going, I remember what we did last night. We listened to that last night. And then just emulating it there instead of being like, actually, this idea that we had when we were sat doing something else, listening to a band like Radiohead months ago, that actually kind of you remember why you almost remembered it. And then you bring what you enjoyed about that memory into what you're writing, which is always the way that I've kind of wanted to write and I wanted things to be, instead of being like, we're just going to copy what we like right now, because we might not like what we're listening to right now in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
But we have to have this album forever.
It's also vibe of bands, vibe of tunes or sections. I know like there's parts of like, so on the playlist, You Fail Me by Converge is one of the first tunes on the thing, because I just wanted like, I was like, oh, the idea of having a really slow one note tune is wicked. That would be so fun to do.
Yeah.
And then that morphed and developed, and then that idea sort of developed into like the Death Goals and Cursive song on the record, which is like a droning, doomy, weird tune, which sounds nothing like You Fail Me, but the energy of that track is there, for example. Or like Faux Macho was written because we were listening to loads of Gilla Band and Daughters and Mets, that sort of like post-punk noisy stuff. And I was like, well, if we combine like those sort of guitar sounds with like a cheerleader, like pom-pom chant thing. Okay, cool. So we have this like
totally
great fun. Like things just sort of piece together in a way where it's based on vibe. Or we often write because it's like a live idea of being like, so the beginning of I Only Be Caught Dead Catching a Bullet, I was like, we watch loads the Every Time I Die like Christmas concert thing on
Tip the Season.
That's it.
Yeah.
But like opening with Floater, where it's just vocals, is so sick. We should do it because we don't have any songs that start like that, and that would be so fun to do halfway through a set. So we had that intro, then we just went from there. Like, it's cherry picking and then going, well, I don't know how to write that song, so I'm going to make my own thing using that sort of vibe template, and then it just sort of goes off on a we're gonna have like a dance break bit once again in Bullet, like this tambourine dance break section for funny. Why not? Oh, we'll end on a heinous beatdown riff like an Ironed Out tune. Why not? Like a lot of why not is it's yes and. I love improv, but it's all like yes and. Why shouldn't we be able to do these little odds and ends and bits? It's boring if we just go, well, I guess we'll just do like that riff, then we'll do Discord riff there, and then breakdown, go home.
Trying to do what people don't expect us to do.
Yeah.
Because that's
even
what
if they do, even they're like, oh, cool, it's a Discord breakdown at the end, very classic Death Goals. We'll have stuff in the middle that keeps it interesting. We'll have an a cappella breakdown or something. I've got some goofy plans for new songs that you're gonna find so annoying, Grog. But like so many little bits, I'm like, that could be fun. That would be a fun little live thing to do. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
It seems like you're a band that don't take things too seriously in terms of like the ideas you were saying there, Harry. Let's just throw in a cheerleader section. Let's throw in, you know, anything that sort of comes to mind at the time. And it's really refreshing when you do meet bands or listen to bands like that. I think Callous Boys is a great example you put in, Harry. I don't know if you listened to the Liturgy album that came out yesterday.
No, I haven't. It was one of the many albums that came out yesterday that
I mean, try and keep up with albums coming out, but listening to that one, they had parts in it where I was actually listening to one song, and do you remember when you were younger? Sorry, Harry, what are you? 18, 19?
I'll take that. I'm 25, but I'll take 18, 19.
But remember when you used to have CDs? CDs. And
I love CDs. I've literally just bought 5 CD singles from my local music shop today.
So, like, you know, when you have a CD and it used to skip, and you go like, oh, fuck's sake, get up and try. That Liturgy album is full of that, where it got so much where I actually went to go and change the CD, even though it's on stream.
That's sick. I love that sort of stuff, though.
But I mean, it's not a problem. It's a great thing to have in music these days. Everything in the, let's just call it the metal umbrella. Everything has been done.
Great band name.
Everything has been done so many times that it's great. We're at this stage now where bands are doing so much stuff. Like, let's take, Imperial Triumphant adding saxophones and trumpets into their sound. Rivers of Nihil again had saxophones in, but it's so good that, and I think the best example of this is Arctangent Festival, which I was going to bring up anyway because you guys are playing at it. But you know, that festival, I was there last year, my first time, and the amount of bands that you discover there that you wouldn't have discovered that are doing so much for the scene. And you know, you could walk from one tent and see a black metal band and walk to another one and see, you know, like Tesseract's playing, for example, or Opeth last year. So it's great, like bands like you. So this is more than me just going off on a tangent. Like, but to keep listeners engaged. And I think if you are, like you were saying, going down the hardcore route, let's take Hatebreed as an example. You know what you're going to get with Hatebreed. You press play on any Hatebreed record, you know what's going to happen. Whereas, like, you guys, you know, throwing in all of this wild stuff. And Harry, you mentioned, sorry, the song name is, you mentioned it a minute ago. Bear with me. Yeah, Death Goals is cursive. It's so doomy at the end.
Great song. I just want to throw a Conjurer riff in.
That's exactly what I was saying. It was Conjurer.
Love Conjurer.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable and so left field.
I mean, I will say it's not like we're fucking reinventing the wheel. We're not like doing anything like incredible where we're groundbreaking or even claiming that we're doing something revolutionary by mixing genres or whatever. But I think much like as we've seen with queerdom and the growth in non-binary representation, all this sort of stuff within music, there's way less gatekeeping in terms of genre, in terms of bullshit. Nah, you can't play that. It's not hardcore. You can't play that. Like, no, people just don't care anymore, and it's great. Like, there are some Biffy Clyro, one of my favorite bands of all time. They have always just done what they wanted in terms of genre, in terms of vibe. No, all those bands are the best bands. Like, why stick yourself to one thing when you can be thousands of things? And that's why it's great. We would always rather play mixed bill of there's like a digital hardcore like rapper guy opening, and then there's like an emo band, and then there's us, and then there's like a beatdown band or whatever. Or like it keeps everything interesting. That's why Arctangent is so good. That's why Heavy Fest was so fucking good. It's why Outbreak this year is incredible, because you've got Denzel Curry headlining, you've got Death Grips headlining, then you've got Scowl and Zulu, and like, it's great. We're living in such a good time for music where it's so open, which is great. And obviously you still have people who are like, nah, it's not real black metal because they've got trumpets in it. That's fucking
gatekeepers.
But they're always going to be there. The best thing is that they're getting drowned out by people just going, that's sick, encouraging creativity and exploration. Like,
100%.
That's what we need. There's no point reinventing the wheel. Make weird shit.
100%.
Make weird shit normal again. So anyway, let's talk about Arctangent quickly then. Like, I mean, you're playing on the Friday, is it? Or Saturday?
Yep. Friday.
With High Long headlining. And also you've got Sixth, who are unbelievable. You've got Enslaved, who are one of my favourite bands of all time. And then you've got The Ocean as well, who are
so excited.
That's just like 3 bands that I've just called out.
We've got Helpless on our day. Helpless are ridiculous. Completely underrated in the local zeitgeist. They are so fucking good. Like, them Hidden Mothers, like, we're quite lucky that the Friday's a day where it's a load of our mates are playing. So we're like, cool, we're just gonna hang out and watch our mates all day. And then get really drunk and then watch whoever's headlining on Saturday going, oh, that was really good fun, but my head hurts. It'll be great. We just have to, like, I've got to be so careful that I don't wreck myself watching Converge again. I have to, every part of my body will want to throw myself, and I have to really not.
Of course, because they're the Thursday, aren't they? And you're playing Friday.
Fucking ridiculous. I'm so excited. Also 68 are playing on our day.
See, there's so many, but like, sorry, I
Mr. Discord himself, Joshua Skogan,
and LLNN as well.
Who are sick.
Insane. They've just changed
the
singers.
The vocalist of Eyes is now the singer.
I was just saying I saw them play in Dublin supporting The Ocean in a place called Whelan's. It's like maybe 150 cap.
Sick.
And LLNN were the loudest band I've ever seen in my life.
Sick.
Like, just ridiculous.
It's gonna be wicked. I'm so excited.
And I'm going this year, so I can't wait to
hell yeah, dude.
Amazing.
Meet there and have a few drinks during the silent disco as well.
Absolutely.
100%.
We're there for the whole time, so don't
sweet.
Are you in
the artist campsite then?
We have
no idea. For me, it's like I'm trying to. I think the first year that I went was the Godspeed and American football year, and I've been, aside from last year, every year since. So like, that's like I think being in bands, whether it be deathcore or bands I've been in before, like, it's been the one thing of like, I want to play Arctangent. I want to play Arctangent. This is like the absolute top thing for me to achieve. So now us finally doing it is like nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But also, like, Harry,
Arctangent and Reading.
Arctangent and Reading,
Reading's the big one. Arctangent is also the big one. Let me just preface that. Arctangent is also amazing, but Arctangent and Reading is such a like rat boy, like little goblin 16-year-old me festival.
Are you genuinely serious about playing Reading? Is that a goal of Death Goals?
I would love to play fucking Reading.
100%. 100%.
Sorry,
Come on, you were shaking your head then like that, and then you said, "Yeah, 100%."
Absolutely, I'd love it.
Threw me off completely.
no,
Reading would be sick.
Camp.
I'd be so gassed. I could literally. That would be like, oh, cool. We've played Reading. Cool. I've had so many good shows at Reading.
The idea of us playing Reading really fits into, I guess, what's like such a big thing for us, and something that Harry mentioned of just like mixed bills. Like it would be such a almost like a funny thing to be like, look, we're playing this festival. Like, I don't know, this year they've got what, like a Sam Fender and like Becky Hill and stuff, and Ashley, and to be like, look at us, this fucking hardcore band, this whatever band playing amongst like people like Arctic Monkeys and shit. And I would absolutely love that. Like, because it's like, I want people who may like never have been exposed to anything that we do to be walking past the tent that we're playing on, be like, what the fuck is that? And either walk in and go, we're leaving now, or be like, you know what, I actually kind of enjoy that. And either way,
that's usually our thing. It works quite well for us.
Like,
people come in and go, that's horrible, or they've got particularly loud. That's a bit of fun.
What is the goal for Death Goals? Like, what would be your like the main taking Reading aside and our tangent? Like, do you where do you see yourselves, sort of thing?
Fucking God knows. Depends if you're being realistic or not. In like the Wayne's World, like super happy dream like situation is like, oh, we go on tour with Deftones. Like we sell 1 million records. Like we become like rich and famous. I get to have like a gold-plated toilet. You know, like the usual. I'm pretty gassed to have anyone give a fuck about what we do. The fact that we had people pestering us about the first album, being like, is it going to get pressed on vinyl? Why isn't it been pressed on vinyl? I was like, that's cool. It's cool that people, like, we've had people message us on Instagram being like, and it does sound corny, but they're like, your music's really helped me through like a really hard time. Or like, there's a guy who sent us like a bunch of like covers he did of like tunes from that album. I was like, that's really cool that someone likes our stuff that much. That they would learn it or like want to learn it, or like that's nice. So just that, like the fact that anyone wants to buy things that we've put out, anyone wants to engage with us in any way is the end goal. I have like trying to keep in mind my like punk rock phase of being like, success doesn't mean the fucking like model, but like a little bit of it is nice. But like the fact we played the tour we did in March was on the Horrible and Miserable was amazing. Like we were playing places we've never played before. It was our first proper like headline tour, and apart from a few shows which we won't mention, like they were all incredible with like people coming through and moshing and like mic grabbing and all this. Like that's about for me. It's always been about the live experience. It's always been about to play these shows and the fact we can play these shows. Like that's what it's about for me. I just want to play shows and wear glitter and dance around to horrible noise I've made. Like that's
however, if Limp Bizkit do want to take us on tour, if Metallica are listening
Chino,
right
please. Chino listens to the podcast, right? You know who listens to the podcast. Chino listens to the podcast, right?
Yeah, totally. Listen to our
Chino, baby, sort us out.
No, but I like every band has dreams and ambitions. Like you guys now, you've done a headline tour, you've signed Prosthetic, which is, I mean, let's be honest, signing to a label these days of their stature is quite big, because a lot of bands are self-releases like you did before, or they're being put out through underground labels. Don't word or anything, but I mean, like, you're in a really good place. Like, and this record, I think, is really gonna, showcase you a lot more. I think Arctangent's going to be a great time. I can't
We
wait.
hope so.
Yeah.
We've got some cool stuff planned for that. It's going to be a fucking big one.
Is it pyro and glitter?
Oh yeah, of pyro.
Yeah, but it's homemade, and we're never going to be invited back again.
Just like a aerosol and a lighter.
We're putting cherry bombs in the drum kit.
Yeah.
We destroyed the Arctangent backline at half one. Ruined it for everyone else on the stage. That's perfect.
Do you know which stage you're playing on Arctangent?
We can say.
Oh,
we do, but I don't. We do know, but I don't think we can say right now.
Oh, look at you guys now.
One of them.
You're the big label,
One of them.
legal teams, and these things you can't say. I was hoping
definitely not Maine.
Yeah, we're actually the Saturday headliners.
Budget opening for us. We're doing a secret set after.
Yeah.
So then for the rest of where are we now? March. So what's lined other than Arctangent? What's lined up for the rest of the year for Death Goals? The album, obviously, on the 5th of May.
Album the 5th. From the 5th to the sometime in May, we're on tour. We're on tour with Vicarage, who are a fucking unbelievable mathcore band from Bristol. We saw them when we played Love Day in Manchester.
Yeah.
And that whole day was a very good day of amazing bands who like Knives and Going Off and like loads of these wicked bands who, if you haven't, check them out, they're very good. But Vicarage played, and it was like we both just turned around. I was like, what? Like, this is like Gaza with like deathcore, like Suicide Silence, like disgusting, like high to low vocals, like unbelievable. So really excited to play with them. And then we've got some shows potentially throughout the year, and then a couple of festivals. We're doing No Play, where obviously we're playing with like Conjurer, who I will be fanboying over because one of the best bands in the UK. And then we're just sort of seeing, hopefully people buy the album, people go, oh yeah, let's get them on some fucking cool shows or whatever. But for now, it's looking like a little play it by ear, chill time. This tour, it's mostly tour and putting the album out is going to be the big thing.
Are you pressing this on vinyl? Sorry, Grog, sorry.
No. We are, yes.
It's available for pre-order now.
It is available for pre-order.
It's bright yellow vinyl.
Yeah, a lovely piss yellow vinyl.
If your piss is that colour, you need to pay for.
Who picks the piss colour vinyl?
We both did.
Okay. So you've got yourselves to blame. When this backfires.
Yeah.
We didn't drink water for a week to make that vinyl.
Yeah. Giving colour samples of like, I think it should look a little bit like this.
Yeah, darker.
Yeah.
That's so right. That's great. Yeah, vinyl. That's gonna be really cool. That's why obviously the gorgeous artwork is behind you.
Yeah.
Photographed by the gorgeous Gabriel, who has done all of our artwork basically, apart from the first EP. But I'm like, I remember like as a young chap, like holding like my dad's like Iron Maiden records, being like, oh, this artwork's really cool. So to be able to do that with my own record is going to be, I'm going to be on like cloud 9. It's going to be so cool. Honestly, like I'm waiting for that parcel to come to my door.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. So yeah, everyone go pre-order the damn album so we don't get in trouble.
Is it how many are you pressing, do you know?
150?
Oh wow, they will sell quick then.
Yes. I'm gonna say 150. Maybe. There's
it's definitely not more than 150.
Okay, so you do want to pre-order it then?
Yeah. You want to pre-order it anyway.
Yeah.
You want to pre-order it.
Like, I mean, this album isn't out till 5th of May. It's now the 25th of May. And we've got this well in advance. Not a lot of people have heard it. Like, we haven't even had a chance to review it on the podcast yet. Like, but it is wicked. Like, it is. It's
thank you. It's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is like, and like, I don't just, if how do I say this politely? I won't interview a band if I'm going to sit here and say your album's shit. There's no point.
Yeah.
Completely, just slag.
I think you're missing a wondrous niche.
Yeah.
If you podcast a band, interview them, go like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Why did you do that? Why is it so bad?
If you won't start doing that, I'm going to start doing that, because that's a fucking genius idea.
I literally don't think I'd have the heart to see someone be like, oh, is it that bad? So it's yours, Harry. That's my gift.
I'm an evil bitch enough. I'll do it.
But no, it is. It's a great album. It doesn't outstay its welcome, which, let's be honest, with some of this genre, it can be a bit grating. If you wouldn't want an hour of this. Let's put it that way.
100%.
Fuck no.
So it doesn't outstay its welcome. There's plenty of diversity on it. There's plenty of moving parts that will get you jumping. Like, there's some bouncy bits in there for sure. And look, it's just a fun album, and you have a great time. I think the songs are really well put together.
That's really lovely.
You both put obviously a lot of effort into it. So I really hope that when the album comes out on the 5th of May, and I think you can pre-order the vinyl now. I think
you can indeed.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I hope that you get all the success, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you at Arctangent and sharing a beer, maybe.
So we'll definitely have a beer.
Sharing multiple beers. You're going to realise we're really annoying when we've had one drink.
Well, I haven't. Sorry, I've been on this alcohol zero for like 3 months now. I've had a couple here and there.
Thanks.
So by the time Arctangent comes, and I have one beer, I'll just be battered. And
Perfect.
You'll be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
No, perfect.
I will be
Makes up
exactly
for my
the same.
complete lack of tolerance for anything.
Yeah.
As does Grog. So
Yeah.
we look at a beer and go, "Oh, got a bit of a funny head."
I'm on the floor.
Yeah, literally. We're the least partying band in hardcore.
We'd just be like the silent disco, just dancing around Grog, like.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I can't wait. Silent disco. Like, if I wasn't going already, I'd be dead for it. I love it.
So much fun last year. So much fun.
Are they still doing the album in full thing?
They did on one of the days, yeah, but they had on, I think it was the Friday night, they had like a new metal channel. So it was just us reliving. There was like 6 of us there, I think, just reliving our youth. And
so sick.
My mate, who's a massive American Head Charge fan, like huge.
Yeah.
Just he might be the only one.
Hear him from miles away, just singing to other people.
So sick. So sick.
Legend. Love that.
Well, listen, guys, thank you for your time. I know it's Saturday night, and I know you've got massive plans to be hitting the town. And
I'm going to make a chili.
Oh,
fuck yeah.
Rocking. I'm just gonna sit back and relax, kick it now, as the kids say.
Nice.
But listen, Harry and Grog, it's been so nice chatting to you guys. Thanks so much. And
thank you so much.
Best of luck for the album release, lead up, post release, and all of the stuff. And I'm sure we'll chat soon. 100%.
100%. 100%.
See you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.